Hasta la vista, baby.
Hey everyone, and welcome to What Did I Miss?, where today I'll be breaking down the 8th episode of the final season of Star Trek Picard, titled Surrender.
Never give up, never surrender.
The episode begins right where the last one ended, with Vadic in control of the USS Titan. The first shot is of Vadic through the evacuation hatch on the bridge, foreshadowing her eventual fate at the end of this episode. While this probably was her last performance as the character, Amanda Plummer has been a delight this season as the villain Vadic, creating a frightening yet sometimes sympathetic character. The actress is perhaps most well known for her role in the film Pulp Fiction, where she and a partner took hostages in a restaurant, similar to how she has taken the crew of the Titan hostage in this episode. While Vadic's crew is going through the ship, Jack tries to see what is going on and projects his consciousness into another crewman who is eventually killed. I know there are a lot of theories out there about Jack, and after this episode, I think one may stand out above the others, which I will discuss in a bit. On Vadic's ship, the Shrike, Will Riker and Deanna Troi tend to each other's wounds, both physically and emotionally. At one point, Deanna reveals that a changeling came to their house as her husband and that he was bad at pizza. This references these characters' appearance in the first season Picard episode Nepenthe, in which Riker was making a pizza when Jean-Luc came to see them. On the Titan, Jack reveals to his mother and his father that he's able to see through other people's eyes and inhabit their bodies. Picard comes up with this idea.
In the event of a hostile takeover, high-ranking Starfleet officers are given an override codex.
This code is the same kind of code that Captain Kirk and the Enterprise used to take control of the USS Reliant in the film Wrath of Khan.
Each ship has its own combination code to prevent an enemy from doing what we're attempting.
On the Shrike, Riker and Troi are saved by Worf, who then has an awkward moment with them both. While it did always seem that Riker and Troi would end up together during the run of The Next Generation, there was a brief moment when Worf and Troi entered into a romantic relationship together. This was after Worf saw himself married to Troi in an alternate reality in the TNG episode Parallels. On the Titan, Picard meets up with LaForge and they decide to let Data fight Lore for control of the new android body. We see both Data and Lore in a brightly lit area, which looks very similar to the one created in the Star Trek Lower Decks episode Reflections, in which the character Rutherford is forced to battle for control of his own personality with a younger version of himself. Star Trek Lower Decks is honestly one of my favorite new shows and takes a lot of references from the Next Generation era, so it's cool that in this case, it seems like Picard is taking a cue from them. When we first enter this realm, you can hear a violin, and Data was shown playing the violin on the Enterprise on many occasions and even kept one in his quarters. This is one of the many characteristics of the character Sherlock Holmes that Data adapted into his own life, and we see a few other props from his love for Holmes in this scene, such as his hat and pipe. You can even briefly hear a part of a conversation between Geordi and Data.
Everything in here has some significance.
Holmes collected nothing, neither trinkets nor thoughts which were not specifically significant to him.
This took place in the TNG episode Elementary, My Dear Data, an episode in which Data and LaForge took on the parts of Holmes and Watson in the holodeck. Riker, Troi, Worf, and Raffi find Jean-Luc's body and learn that the Changelings have removed part of his brain. When Raffi and Troi meet, Troi says,
"Strange day, son."
You're telling me?
This could be a reference to the hit song by the band The Doors and the fact that it would seem that a red door now holds the key to the mystery surrounding Jack, and that Deanna may be the one that is able to unlock it. While Data and Lore struggle for control, more objects from Data's past appeared, including a tricorder. This could be a reference to Mr. Tricorder, Data's one-man show from the film Star Trek Generations.
Mr. Tricorder.
Data then retrieves a crystal that contains the hologram of Tasha Yar. Tasha Yar was the head of security at the beginning of The Next Generation, but was killed in the episode Skin of Evil. Before her death, she recorded a message to Data and contained it within this crystal. Geordi and Wesley Crusher found this crystal in his quarters after they thought Data had been killed in the TNG episode The Most Toys. During their time as friends on the Enterprise, Data and Tasha got very close, especially in the episode The Naked Now, an episode that also revealed the feelings that Jean-Luc Picard and Dr. Crusher had for each other. On the Titan, Jack appears to be ready to give himself up, but instead pulls a Luke Skywalker and pretends to hold a thermal detonator in his hands. At one point, he says something that sounds very familiar.
There's really no point resisting.
This is an amalgamation of the infamous phrase said by the Borg.
Resistance is futile.
After this, Seven remains on the bridge while the rest of the crew are locked away. Vadic then says something very curious to Seven of Nine.
How fitting it is for you to stay and witness this.
Given that Seven used to be a member of the Borg, I'm really starting to believe that Jack may in fact have some connection to the Borg. In the episode The Best of Both Worlds, which has been referenced by characters this season, Dr. Crusher stated that Picard's DNA was being rewritten as part of the assimilation process. This could mean that when Picard severed his link to the Borg and had his mechanical augmentations removed, that something from the assimilation could still affect his physiology, and he could then pass this on to his offspring. Picard's neurological issues were not diagnosed until the last season of The Next Generation, which of course was years after his assimilation. I will go more in depth on my theory about Jack during my Monday morning podcast, WDIM News, so make sure that you are subscribed so you know when that comes out. But let me know in the comments now if you agree with this theory, if you think he is a power wraith, or if you have another theory. As Data and Lore continue to fight for control, Data pulls out a deck of cards. This is the same deck that we saw him and his crewmates play poker with on various occasions, such as in the last scene of the series finale, All Good Things. The last thing that we see from Data's past is Spot, his pet cat. Spot made his first appearance in the TNG episode Data's Day and would go on to be seen or mentioned in 7 other episodes on The Next Generation along with 2 films. A deleted scene from the film Nemesis revealed that after Data died, that Worf was the one who took care of Spot. Data tells Lore,
"This simple creature managed something quite miraculous. In a way, he taught me to love."
This could be referencing a scene from the film Generations, in which Data found Spot in the rubble of the Enterprise D after it was destroyed and experienced one of his first true emotions. Data tricks Lore and is able to use his memories to integrate both personalities into one. He then takes over the Titan systems and opens the evacuation hatch into space. Jack creates a force field around himself and Seven when she delivers this line.
Get off my bridge.
This was something Picard was known to say on multiple occasions, some of which have aged better than others. Vadic is frozen in space and then shatters apart when she hits the Shrike. I'm not sure if this kills a changeling, or if perhaps the explosion of the Shrike could have reheated her back together, similar to the T-1000 in the film Terminator 2 Judgment Day. When Seven gives the order to fire on the Shrike, she says,
Give it everything we've got.
This could be a fun reference to everyone's favorite miracle worker, James Montgomery Scott. Then we finally get all the members of the original Enterprise D crew appearing this season in one room as they all meet together for the first time since the film Nemesis. This was without a doubt one of the best moments of the season and perhaps the entire Picard series. Deanna meets with Jack while the Titan engages the cloaking device. In case you missed it, the Titan installed a Klingon cloaking device a couple weeks ago in the episode The Bounty. The episode then ends on a cliffhanger for next week. Let me know your theories about Jack, and then listen on Monday to see if I bring him up during my podcast, WDIM News. Well, that is all I saw in this episode, but let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Thank you very much for joining me this week. Please hit that like button right now if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time on What Did I Miss?